Welcome everyone to another episode of the WORX Plus TechTalk Podcast. I'm Josh, and today I've got a special guest. He's been a cornerstone of our team and a true expert of the concrete grinding and polishing industry. Please welcome Hayden McDonald.
Oh, that's me. I thought there was someone else in the room.
Known affectionately by others as Saint Hayden, but we'll get to that later on. Hayden,
Absolutely.
thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's about time.
Well, you've featured on the Tech Talk videos in the past, but this is your first podcast.
It is.
How long have you been here for?
What year are we?
I was going to say 1924, but it's 2024.
1924. Well, no, I think 7 or 8. I can't remember when I started. It was a long time ago now. But yeah, it has to be 8 years, I reckon.
Yeah, wow, far out.
Yeah, feels like yesterday.
Time flies, doesn't it? All right, but this is not your first time around in the team, is it?
In the team.
All right.
No.
Let's wind back the clock. What came first, Hayden McDonald or the internet?
What technically? Well, yeah, this is debatable, right? You have to look on the internet now to find this out, but officially, I am older than the internet and Google, so yeah.
So you're older and wiser, and that's
let's just go with older. Wiser, maybe not, but the internet's grown a lot. AI, who knows?
So you've been here for 7 or 8 years.
Yep.
Nobody quite knows. How did you get here? You've been doing some other things, I'm assuming.
Lots of things, yes. Well, I guess, how far back do you want to go, Josh?
What makes you qualified to be here now? Let's go back to, what did you do when you left school?
Not a lot. I didn't like school that much. So, no, I did telecommunications engineering in school. So I actually started a TAFE course while I was doing my VCE. So, yeah, that was my first into electronics and everything, was doing that during school. And then I finished off my TAFE course, finished my final exam, and much to my parents' dislike, I walked outside, looked up at the sky and went, it's a beautiful day. I don't think I want to do this. And 2 weeks later, I was on a construction site. So, yeah, a bit of a flip of what I studied to do and then what I ended up wanting to do. So, I'd been doing concrete cutting with my dad, school holidays, all that kind of stuff for years. He was a concrete cutter, 40 years, I think. Yeah,
wow.
So, construction sites, well known for me, wasn't anything else that I really wanted to do. So, I ended up going out plumber's labourer for a few years and then eventually found my way into the ProGrind team back in the day on the tools, polishing concrete. So that was...
what year was that?
I want to say it was probably 2002, if I had to guess, because my TAFE course would have done 2 years out of school. So, I reckon, 2002, 2003 max.
Yeah, I think it's 2 or 3 as well.
Yeah, So yes, a mutual contact was working for King Concepts at the time, and ProGrind were looking for people, and I jumped on board, threw me in a van and off I went. So, training with a lot of the guys that are still currently out there grinding concrete. So it was, which I love seeing, because lots of old stories with these guys every time they walk in the door.
Lots of secrets. So there's
a lot of dirt. So
that really creates some loyalty, though, doesn't it? Some trust.
A lot of trust. Yes, both ways.
These old days back at Prolift, ProGrind, similar companies, right? Sister companies, but set up differently to do different tasks.
Correct.
You spent more time in Prolift than ProGrind, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right, I'm just going to ask you a question about both those companies because I was involved in both of those as well, so it's going to be easy for me to relate.
Yeah.
Tell us about the worst job.
The worst job.
Yeah.
Worst job was probably at Prolift. We had, it was I can't think of the actual address off the top of my head. I feel like it was St Kilda somewhere. Was 41st floor of a building, and the entire building slab had been poured 60 millimeters too low. Ooh. So we had to fill it with a leveling compound, and we had to mix it by hand. So we were bringing...
How many square meters is this level?
Oh, this would have had to have been, I want to say it was a good 500 squares. Like, it was huge.
500 square meters at 60 mil?
Yeah. Yeah, it was massive. So when we got up there, the the builder had they'd had the windows installed, and that was the first they knew that it was wrong because the
Windows
window
didn't fit.
guys went off the floor below and lays it up, and the windows were sitting 40 mil higher than the slab around the whole place. So we had to fill in and around that to seal up the level, and then proceed to fill leveling compound in there.
All mixed by hand.
All mixed by hand, and we had to carry it up there. We couldn't fit a full pallet in the lift because the lift, I think, was only good for 400 kilos. So it was separating pallets into quarter pallets, bringing them up the elevator, cracking them into bags, and doing all of that the whole way through. We were there for weeks and weeks mixing leveling compound. So it got to the point we actually had our own kettle, fridge, and everything up on that level, so we didn't have to go down to the smoko sheds to make coffees because it was taking that long to do everything. So it was a horrible job, absolutely horrible. And that was before, they had leveling pumps, where you could actually, have a truck parked out the front and just pump it upstairs.
Yeah.
So we couldn't fit an actual leveler pump up there either. We couldn't get enough compound up there to keep it running, consistently. So it was all by hand.
Oh, what a nightmare.
Very nice. That twitch is coming back.
And on top of that, you've got to get all the waste back downstairs and everything too.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Good fun. Just think how much extra weight was on that slab. Engineering, tell you.
How do these things happen?
That's
I don't know.
Right. And just think leveling compound. You can only do a certain amount at one take, then you got to prime it all again, grind it, prime it. So it was a big job. Huge stuff up.
I'm glad I wasn't part of that one. Worst mechanical breakdown on one of these jobs?
It's not necessarily the breakdown. It was what happened after the breakdown. It was BHP Billiton Executive Office, and I had a spring steel let go, and it went through the exterior window.
You're talking about a head on a machine, on a grinder?
Yeah.
820?
Yeah, it would have been 820, yeah.
So what level is this on?
I think it was 40th floor.
40th floor, downtown Melbourne, is that right?
Yeah, middle of, I think it was Collins Street or something.
And you're grinding in the executive office.
Yeah.
A spring steel breaks.
Mm-hmm. Shot sideways and went through the bottom of the window out on the roof of the building next door.
Oh, wow.
Worst mechanical breakdown ever.
So how did you retrieve this head to?
I did not.
How has that not been? I mean, I think there's, depending on how many, whatever number of machines there are in existence with the spring heads on them, I think each one of them represents a quantifiable case for why they shouldn't exist. But this one here should be enough for them to be banned.
Exactly. Yeah, that was an interesting one. That phone call to, and I think that was ProLift at the time. So I guess calling Theo, the supervisor at the time, going, "Yeah, we got a problem. One of my heads just came off and went through the window." He goes, "Oh, that's all right. We're demoing that." I went, "No, the outside windows." He goes, "Oh, that sounds expensive." Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to have to explain what had happened.
Yes. So that's worst breakdown. I'm going to jump forward to another story that I actually really wanted to tell in here. Right, it's one of my more favourable bad incidents in this was I was supervising a crew of guys. It was night shift, and I was at home in bed, and the phone rings, and it was a police officer calling me saying, we need you to come down to this address. We have an individual here that's basically saying that we need to speak to you. Like, okay. So I turn up this job, and here's two police officers and one of the staff members that was at this job in bracelets, needs to say.
Bracelets.
Questioned me on why we were at this job. It was one of those really small sort of, malls with, supermarkets and what around it.
Sure.
What it eventually worked out had happened was one of the old tile removing ride-on machines, we used to call the twister. Operator was busting up some tiles, and
so this is not a small machine.
No, this is a big ride-on thing.
Okay, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah, it's I don't know, a ton.
Yep,
most likely.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, he'd miscalculated reversing up for the next run and had bowled an ATM over. That in itself you would normally call an accident, but the security guards that were on there didn't know he was there. No one had told them there was work going on, so they'd turned up to this alarm going off for an ATM that apparently was being broken into, and when they got there was a guy with his tile removing machine. Plus, he had a kanga there, so police
as in a jackhammer.
No, as in like a dingo kanga
Gotcha.
with a bucket. Yep. So, according to police, he had motive and means to remove this ATM from site.
Was there like any rubble of tile already coming up? Like,
he'd done like 3 rows of tiles. So the first 3 rows of the tiles, 150 square meters, like not a big job, so in and out real quick, right? Just like a robbery.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Exactly. So yeah, that was probably one of my more enjoyable laugh moments on a call out whilst supervising people. But that was, I've never had anything else like that happen. So.
How long did it take you to convince the police officers that he was?
A little while. We had to get, what do we have to do? I think I had to get copies of the quotes for the job, and obviously you get approvals on all these things. So I had to get all the documentation down on site. So, which is never easy because I was just the guy supervising the job. I didn't do any of that. So that was waking more people up in the middle of the night to get it happening. So how
much cash was in the ATM?
I couldn't tell you. I never got my share.
I want to ask you about an incident that I know happened on a job, and I'm not going to say it was a working incident. I'm going to say, let me ask you, what was your worst lunch break that you ever had, Hayden?
I knew this was coming up.
All right. We don't have to do it.
We will. We'll do this.
I just think it's really good for everyone to not have as bad of a lunch break that you had.
It wasn't just one lunch break, though. They followed. Yeah, anyway, can we mute his mic? It's just going to be laughter. Okay, do you remember the job? I
do.
I want to say Rosebud or Rye?
No, it was in St Kilda.
St Kilda? No, you sure?
Yeah.
Wasn't it near the golf course?
No, it was a job that we did in St Kilda. It was an office job, refurb.
Yep. Sorry, the other one was the lightning strike. Yeah, my other worst day. So I lunch break. Okay. Stop for lunch. Yep. All right. Looking around in the van. What have I got? Not for the lunch. Sorry, not for lunch.
What have you just been doing?
Work. A lot of work. No, we'd been rolling out a sealer of some sort from memory.
A solvent-based sealer.
Solvent-based sealer. Yeah. I should know that, right? So it comes along lunchtime, and I'm like, I got my sandwich. Ham, cheese, tomato. Yep. All right. Oh, what can I? There's no tables or chairs around here. I've got a drum. Yeah, just sit on the drum of sealer. Yeah. No worries.
Sit on the drum of sealer that you've just been pouring sealer out recently, yeah?
But it's a brand new one. It was a brand new drum, unopened, right? So I'm like, I'll just sit on that. It's just a drum. It's like a milk crate. I can just sit on that and have lunch. So, midway through my lunch, I'm like, what's going on here? I don't know if the camera can show, but I'm touching my butt here. I'm like, what's happened there? I stand up and my pants are drowned. In my defense, I tried to work through it. I really did. But after about an hour of back at work trying to push a grinder, I had to call Josh and go, mate, I need to go home. I've sat on a drum of solvent-based sealer and the lid wasn't on right. It was full to the brim and it's leaked all over my pants and my jocks and my butt is hurting so bad. I couldn't sit down. I had to drive a van home from St Kilda to Mount Evelyn and I couldn't put my butt on the seat. I reckon it was 2 days before I could properly sit down. I do not recommend it. It was the worst.
Oh, you're a brave man for sharing that with us. I would have said pass.
So now whenever sealer comes past me, it's like, just keep that away with it. Oh, I couldn't believe that.
He's got that Pen X twitch.
I don't touch Pen X. No. Yes, that was one of the worst things I did to myself. Self-inflicted on site. Yes. Many, many stories.
So none of these things would have happened today, would they?
I really hope not. A lot of these wouldn't. Look at it. We got, maybe the Twister story, that might still happen. There's a good chance of that. Demo, spring head coming off, probably not because demo heads are around, so that would have been stopped. Sealer, can you stop stupid? Let's be honest, Yeah, that could happen again. Not to me,
Well,
but to someone.
Well, all I can say is that these events just make you seem human again.
Exactly.
All right. I think we can all relate to this. All feel a bit more comfortable about the stupid mistakes that we've made.
Exactly. But look, I mean, if I could go back to those days, man, with some of the stuff we've got nowadays, times were good. I feel like I had a rough time back then. I really do.
Well, that's the other thing too, isn't it? I mean, so long ago we worked through that phase and we look back on it now and just go, what were we thinking? Yeah. But today we get to see people who are getting into the industry, finding their feet, and we see them onto the path of, doing maybe some of these things. And I guess for you, you've got the, you're in a position now where you can say, hey, why don't I help you get to, bypass some of those things and get to
the what not to do's, right?
The what not to do's. But we don't actually have a sticker on top of the Pennex drum saying, do not sit on this, do we?
Make sure that he's tight. Yeah. Yes.
What is? Anyhow, moving on.
Oh, yes. Good times, I got to say, when working on the tools. I had a lot of fun jobs. There's a lot of good guys working with me. So it was definitely something I remember. And I still talk to a lot of the guys that I was working with.
And as you mentioned before, a lot of those early starters are still in the industry today.
They are, absolutely. They still walk in the door and I just look at them going, yeah, I got some dirt on you.
And they're going, and I got some on you.
That's exactly right. Yeah, mutual silence. That's right. No. I'm trying to think of other jobs that, memorable. I mean, look, one that I always, and this actually happened last year. Yeah, I think I went to Myer Windows last year and Burke Street Mall, and I remember standing at the tramway looking down going, telling my daughter going, I helped polish all this. The polished concrete's still there.
Oh yeah.
Down there on the old tram tracks. So that was a fun one.
Most people don't know it's there, do they?
No.
Walk straight over top of it and don't realise there's a massive long stretch of artwork.
Huge. And it was horrible to do.
Someone was paid a lot of money to do that. I don't mean the grinding part, I mean the artists that made it.
Yeah. And look, I can say that was also a fun job. That was, safety standards back when that job was going, a little bit different than nowadays. I think if that job happened today, it would be, obviously the trams are shut down. I was going to say, let's stop the trams.
That's
exactly right. They would stop the trams these days. Back then it wasn't. People won't believe that. They'll be like, you're joking. It's like, no, we're serious. Trams came, we had to move machinery off the tracks for the tram to go past, then get back on again and grind. It was madness. But even that would be barricaded off. There'd be security, all sorts of stuff. We literally just had bollards and red and white tape. And I have fond memories of we were doing a system where someone was up front doing a first cut and then someone was back behind them following doing a second cut. I remember grinding away and looking up and all of a sudden there was some girl in a mini skirt and high heels pushing the grinder in front of me.
Yeah.
And the operator had nicked off and said, just grab that while I go and do this. And it's just things that wouldn't happen nowadays.
Free labour.
Oh, free labour. Yeah. Don't know if it was any good, but yeah.
Oh, wow.
But again, just some of the places, some of the jobs. I'm one of those dads that now I go through the city and it's like, I worked on that building. I worked there. That used to be a car park before that. And now I know what my dad felt like when he used to drive through the city telling us that. So proud in a way.
The next generation.
The next generation. That's right.
That's awesome. You were grinding and polishing for a little while.
Yep.
How long were you actively doing that for? Because you went away from the industry for a bit, right?
See, it's a bit blurry for me back then. I feel like I was with ProGrind, but I was also working with Prolift at the same time because they were both, I think, at that point under the one banner. So I think I was doing a bit of work for both, but I reckon it was at least 2 to 3 years polishing concrete off the top of my head. So then I moved across to Prolift, which was the demolition side of the business. And again, that sort of demolition, concrete cutting, all that stuff kind of just played into it nicely. So I moved over there and I think I spent 4 years over there, lifting tiles, doing night shift, leveling floors, all the fun stuff.
And you were probably, I'm guessing, breaking a whole lot of stuff too.
Oh, all the time.
Breaking machinery.
Like demolition, you break stuff, right? Whether it's yours or the thing you're there to break, everything just happens.
Everything breaks.
That's right.
All right. So that kind of plays into what you then came back to WORX Plus to do in the service side of things. So you'd already seen a whole lot before you even came.
Like a lot of the stories I've heard on these podcasts previously, I too have rebuilt machines on site, with all these sorts of problems. So yes, so certainly coming back to the role that I came into, which was the service supervisor. I already knew about the machines. I'd already on-site fault finding. I had that importance of urgency for repairs on site and helping guys out. Plus, I knew the polishing side, so it was a nice, easy transition at that point.
I transitioned forward a bit too fast there.
We did,
because some more happened in between, didn't it?
There was
something very, very similar to concrete grinding you went on to do after
it's like
your time at ProLift.
Just slides between the two, really. When I finished up with ProLift, I took an extended holiday over Christmas, and for some unknown reason, I just really decided I wanted to play with some big toys, and I went and bought a 1974 Kenworth and a Bobcat, and decided I was going to do earthworks. Just out of the blue, went, you know what? I like playing with toys. I like excavators. I've always been getting my hands dirty, and just decided that'd be a good thing to do. So off I went. Out there driving this Kenworth around. All over Melbourne, doing all the fun stuff. Unfortunately, it fell right at the GFC, so that kind of ended my line with that one. There was a few other bigger players out there that could beat me on price, so I ended up rolling that up, which I then moved into construction, building basically. For myself, I was doing decks, pergolas, extensions on houses, sheds, you name it. So a lot of hands-on stuff, running my own business. So that was an interesting time as well.
Far out.
Yeah. So done a few things.
How old are you now? Like 150 or something? You've done
older than the internet. Like, what can I say? I've been around. Look, that went for quite a few years. We, myself and another business partner, we were doing that for quite a long time. And again, just we both decided to move on from it. The business partner had been in it since he was 16, and he was like, I want to do something different. So
he went out and bought a Bobcat. Kenworth.
Tried to convince him, but he just wouldn't do it. So no, we parted ways, and at that point, I again just went into a field that was really
related.
Very related. I actually went into a company that builds racing simulators. So car racing simulator. Well, not just cars. We did helicopters, airplanes, everything. It was that was crazy. Actually, that was some of the stuff that was out there that really opened my eyes to some of the new technologies that are around. And just I got to do some cool stuff.
So, what were you doing with these guys?
Initially, I just came in as a part-timer, just helping them build these things because I needed some help, and slowly moved into doing the IT with them, some manufacturing with them. We had guys there that were, we were doing full-size F1 cars and things like that. So I got to learn fiberglass in, all sorts of fun things. So,
did you do anything with electronics?
A little bit, yeah. No, we did. We had motion simulators there, so it was, we're doing motion control systems for them. All obviously the computers, switches, pedal sets, all sorts of stuff that we were doing, plus a whole lot of machining, engineering, prototyping as well.
So you're finally using your qualifications?
Not really, no.
Not really?
Still to this day haven't.
Okay.
But that was a good few years. I got to do some really amazing stuff. I went to the F1s in the Ferrari complex with all the high rollers, Crown Casino. It was good. Bathurst, a couple of years up there, running simulators with all the race drivers. So yeah.
Wow, I can see why you wanted to get out.
It was absolutely. It's funny you say the movement from that to where I am now was I was just doing a weekend job for a mate, and I had to give this guy a call to hire a machine. So I gave this guy over here a call and said, "Hey mate, you got a grinder I can borrow?" So there, however many years later, here I was grinding a floor, on a weekend. Back to my roots, I guess you'd say. And just conversations, came and went, and next thing you know, I was coming in for an interview.
It wasn't next thing.
It wasn't. No, it's true.
It was me proactively calling you once a month for about more than a year.
It was, yes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That is true. Yeah, you did chase me a fair bit on that one. So.
Yeah, I hear this simulator thing is gonna crash. Not going to last much longer, man. Get out while you still can.
That's right.
Yeah. So then you left the simulators.
Yep.
And came to WORX Plus, supervisor.
Yep.
Working on machines, taking a lot of calls. How long How long have you done that for prior to going into your new role, which we'll get to shortly?
I want to say I think it was 6 years.
Yeah. Okay.
And the only reason I know that is I remember in the interview someone saying, what do you want to be doing in 5 years? And I named the role I'm in now, but it took me 6 to get here. So disappointed on that one.
Very disappointed. So what are you going to be doing in 3 years?
From now?
Yeah. This will happen in 4.
We'll talk about that one off air, right?
Yeah, right. Okay, right. That's what were some of the highs and lows of that particular role? It's different to a lot of the other types of roles in WORX Plus in that it's it's a lot of reactive while you're trying to be proactive and keep things running smoothly. But just the forces of the industry just don't.
The forces of nature.
They don't operate that way, do they?
Look, it's the highs and lows. You couldn't really say there's lows. It's, there's certain parts of any job that you would say are lows, but it's a part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
Probably just it was a very full on. You wouldn't say 24 hours a day, but certainly after hours calls, weekend calls. Breakdowns happen any time of the day.
Mm.
So part of the people that know me, I'm a hard worker. I take work home with me. So I took it upon myself that I was going to be the go-to for people if they needed it, and I made it a mission that I knew everything about the machines that we did. So there wasn't anything that was a secret to me. So probably one of the things I liked was being able to help customers no matter when, even if it was a Saturday afternoon and a machine broke down ready for a night shift or whatever, to be able to help them, because who else do they have? That was kind of the thing.
You've been in that situation before.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. And if you don't know, if you're not a telecommunications engineer like me, if you don't know about a lot of these parts in these machines, you've got no chance of fixing them. Like there's certain things you just cannot do without being trained on it or knowing a bit of the ins and outs. And as the machines get more advanced, that compiles more and more. You get a warning on the screen and things like that, but it doesn't tell you what it is or what to do to fix it. It's great to know that this is played up, but how do I fix it on site, or can I limp it through, things like that. Just being able to make sure I could help guys at any time whenever they needed it. So that was kind of the mission I put myself to when I came into this role, was learn everything I can about all the machines that are out there to be able to help people, because as a service supervisor, that's kind of what you want. So, and just a niche industry. We're not like a car yard where 5 o'clock doors closes and you can't get a hold of anyone like that. That doesn't help our customers.
Yeah, right. What are the biggest challenges of that role?
Biggest challenges? Knowing when not to answer the phone. Look, for me, probably training is a challenge. I'm very much I take things on. I struggle to delegate things to people just because I know how I want to do it. I know how it should be done. I know the ins and outs. So to train people can be hard in that regard. But look, probably the keeping up with other technologies without having any information about them. So having to learn everything yourself from scratch was probably the hardest thing. Is and even to today, we'll talk to suppliers about something. And I go, "Oh, have you got an electrical drawing for that?" It's like, "Yeah, no, I don't." "Oh, well, can you get it from the supplier?" "Yeah, they don't share that." Things like that. So there was just a lot of that. And this is early on. Like nowadays, it's a bit different. There's a lot more information out there. But back then, it was all the suppliers held everything really close to their chest. It was them, their product, their machine. They didn't share it. So that was probably the hardest thing was getting myself up to speed with almost no assistance from outside. So
yeah, okay. I've already asked you in a previous Tech Talk what was your worst machines to work on, so I'm not going to ask that today.
Don't want to dig another hole.
So instead of asking those types of questions, I'm going to ask you, what do you do today? What are you doing now?
I'm in a podcast right now.
Your role is no longer in service supervisor.
Correct.
You're doing something that's top secret?
Top secret undercovers.
Does that mean you can't tell us about what you do today?
If I do, I'll have to kill you.
That's okay. I think it's a worthwhile cause to go down for.
Go and get the shotgun. Go on. No, I'm in R&D now, so I do machinery now. So I'm doing the machinery development and a lot of prototyping, a lot of design work around new machinery of any sort. Whether we've done vacuums and things before, so I assist him with a lot of the R&D work.
So are you now using your telecommunications engineering qualifications?
I'm getting closer.
Getting closer?
Getting closer. Yeah.
You're going to put a telephone in one of these machines?
Oh, God, I hope not. If it is, it's going to be one of the really old ones with the dial that you got to turn. Yeah.
What happened to all those telephone booths that got removed?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. So what does that look like for you then? You say that you're working on stuff.
That's what it is. It's stuff. It's things.
Cut for a second. Just by the way, this podcast will come out after the announcement of the new machine anyhow. So,
okay, all right. You sure?
It's going to have to.
It's going to have to now, isn't it? Because now you just said that I'm working on a new machine.
Yeah.
Oh wait, everyone already knew that, right?
Correct.
No, look, it's definitely moved more into line with what I wanted to do. Again, even coming in as a service supervisor, it was a stepping stone in my eyes. You know, that conversation of where I want to be in 5 years was I wanted to be basically in R&D in 5 years from when I started here, which was Tim's role at that point. He was just R&D, so I just wanted his job at the end of the day. He gave it to me. He was quite happy to hand it over. If I'm honest, he was almost waiting for it. But yes, no, we're working on a new machine at the moment. So yeah, we've got a fair bit of headway in that. Like I say, very close to using my telecommunications engineering on this one. But again, a lot of new technologies as well, which is again the hard part is trying to implement a lot of these into current machinery that we already know and use, and try and just bring the market up a bit higher in the technology side of things, because it's kind of been forgotten about a little bit. Like guys are just used to grab a machine, grab the handles, and push it along. RCs have come along and made it a bit easier, but that's about as far as any of them have gone. So it's about taking the next steps now and going, okay, what's next for the industry?
Okay,
not tomorrow, but what's next in 5 years? What are the machines going to look like then?
Oh, you're commanding that of the universe again, are you?
Absolutely.
This is what I want in 5 years. So
exactly. Well, we're going to talk later about the 3-year plan, right?
Watch out, everyone. What happens in 6 years? All right, so we're kind of getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here, Hayden. We're talking about the new machine, which is good. Want to learn more about it. I want to go back a little bit to, first of all, when you were in the workshop. I mean, what I saw when you were working in the workshop is that you weren't necessarily just a regular service manager. When there was a problem, the easy fix was not always to go grab something off the shelf. It was to look for a better solution than what was currently available. And so you're quite used to being resourceful as far as, okay, this doesn't just need replacement. This needs solution, a better solution. Now we're going into, you're now involved in research and development, making new machinery. What are some of the things that you see the industry needs? You've talked about, technology in grinding, and you just mentioned before, guys are used to just grabbing a machine, switching it on and pushing it. Why are those days gone? And where do you think it needs to get to? And why do you think so?
Well, I don't think those days will ever be gone.
Yeah.
I mean, I still know too many guys that will happily pick up a push machine and refuse to move to RC. Good on them. I kind of incline that way myself currently.
You still own a hacksaw, don't you?
I do, yes. Yeah. Look, you're right. Even though I was in the workshop a lot, with the mechanics, it was a lot of the time that I spent was making solutions for problems on other machines, whether that be parts that weren't quite engineered enough, whether it was just they were hard to do the way they had them, expensive the way they had it set up, trying to make some retrofit parts. So I guess the R&D side of it, I've probably been doing for quite a while in some shape or form. In terms of future for the machinery, look, we really focus on the labor side of it. That's the biggest thing we can do with the machine is performance, which tooling and everything has come so far compared to when I was pushing the machine. With the machines not moving that far forward, when you've got a massive increase on tooling, but your machinery's not moving at the same rate, something's got to give. There's limitations on how far you can push a tool or how great you can make a tool if the machine's still only doing X.
Yeah.
So I think a bit of it around that is developing a bit more on machinery, what it can do, what new technologies are out there, what other designs and mechanisms can be used around that to try and bring the performance of the machine itself up a bit more. and we see a lot of that already in machines coming out, that the improvements are being made. Are they being made fast enough? Probably not, with how advanced tooling and chemicals and everything are going with what we're seeing. But look, it'd be nice, to use the simulator technology and grinding and put the two together, and you could sit at home and on your computer and just grind a floor. That'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? You don't even have to leave your bed.
Who does the edging?
AI. Right? Yeah, make a remote edger. That's fine. That's the next on the list, right? AI edger.
Cat's out of the bag.
It's exactly right. So look, there's definitely got to be improvements in the industry from machinery side.
Mm-hmm.
So many other bigger, higher end companies are starting to play with a lot of this stuff, and eventually it would filter down naturally. But I don't know if we can wait for that. I think it needs to be driven a bit more.
Sure thing.
So that's kind of what I want to try and do, is start bringing some of this stuff into the market.
And I imagine if you're looking at what other industries are doing, and just purely from innovation side of things, if you look at any other product that's on a building site, there's some level of automation in the manufacturing of those products.
Yeah.
Mechanically polished concrete, or even just the preparation of concrete, is still in effect a production and a manufacturing of a product.
Yeah. And
so I guess you've always got to be looking for those improvements as well.
Exactly. It's who wants to still be pushing a machine if you don't have to?
Mm-hmm.
But it's about making sure the technology can do what a person can do and see, to do the same job.
Yeah, certainly.
So, not that we want to take, we want to try and take jobs away from people, that's for sure. But just make it easier, like the RCs did. It's made it easier for operators. I think we can make it easier again.
And it extends the working life of operators too, right? Because otherwise it's just a young man's game.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, I've still got pains in my back from carrying leveler bags around all the time. So, great. If we can get a better way of that, awesome. Which I think someone did. There's now these leveling pumps and trucks and things. So that's the same concept. Someone took a physical work and went, hey, this can be done better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it takes, is it just need a company and people to go, hey, this can be done better, and actively chase it.
Speaking of it can be done better, how long have you been working on this in the background? When I say this, I'm talking specifically about the creation of new machinery for grinding.
Whoa. Look, it's probably been looking around at it for probably 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Actively working on it, probably 3. So I think there was certainly, in the early days when I came in, it was, the dream was always there. It was just, was it needed?
Mm-hmm.
Was always a question, because it's a big thing to come out with a product like that.
Yeah,
it's a lot of development, a lot of research, a lot of resources to do it. So it's like, all right, is there a need? Because if there's no need, then there's no point.
Yes.
As well. So we kind of came to the conclusion through market feedback that there was a need, which means there is a point to do it. So that's when we started looking and at everything that was around, and started analysing what was good, what was bad, and from there started working on it. Going, okay, well, with the workshop, we see everything come through broken. We know everything that breaks easily on a machine. We know what works and what doesn't.
Sure.
The knowledge in this place, we already know how to grind a floor and how it should be done. So really, to fit all of those together wasn't a hugely difficult task. It was just sitting down with a whole lot of drawings and paper and whiteboards until we got a plan. So
you're telling me that this machine is not going to break down?
It'd be great if I could say yes to that, isn't
it? Great. Well, I'm not going to get too bogged down in the details, because we're going to do that in another platform where we'll actually be involving people. You can have a look at what the evolution has been like.
Yep.
A lot of the things that you, Tim, and the rest of the team have worked through, from a gathering of components to why you're choosing something over another and that sort of stuff. So I'm not going to ask too many questions, give too much away in our podcast.
Don't like you.
What I really wanted to do today is give people a bit of a background on Hayden, Saint Hayden, as many affectionately call you. Those are the ones who already know. I also want people to understand, to know how long you've been in this game for, what you've seen, and why you actually have these qualifications to not just be working on the machines, but to be taking it to the next level, and why you're part of that team.
Yep.
Which we're really happy to have you here for. And, it was certainly worth the 12 plus months of monthly phone calls trying to wrangle you away from what on the outside looks like a whole lot more of a fun industry than the one that you've chosen to settle in. So based on that statement of fun things, you've also made something really fun in the past.
Made lots of fun things.
Well, there's one thing in particular that I thought was a lot of fun, and I still can't believe that. Well, we'll get to that part. Now, you built some kind of off-road race buggy once, right? Another hobby.
Yes, it was a bit of a hobby. Yes, one of the guys that was working at the simulator company builds race cars, and he had this little off-road buggy that they kind of designed, and they had some spare parts for one of their race cars, and they went, let's make something fun on the weekend. So they started toying with it, and I went out with them one weekend and was like, oh, geez, I like this. So yeah, sure enough, I got in contact with them and decided to make a kit form of it, and they supplied me some of the parts, and I went off and did the rest. And sure enough, I built this little single seat race buggy and went and did a couple of events here and there. Around Victoria. Used to take it up the bush on weekends, and everyone had good fun in it, even in the car park down here at WORX.
Nobody died.
Nobody.
Hard to believe, but everyone's still here, and we're very grateful for that.
That's right.
What happened to that buggy?
Oh, well, I'm still sad, to this day that I actually did it, but I ended up selling it to a guy over in Dubai. We washed it and packed it and shipped it over there, and last I heard was that it was involved in a bit of an accident, and I'm not sure if it's anymore.
Okay.
Somebody took it somewhere they probably shouldn't have, and made a mischief of themselves. So,
well, that's just a little bit of an insight to what Hayden likes to do for fun. Any other things that you like to do for fun?
Love my water sports. I do like getting out on a wakeboard here and there. Definitely a bit of fishing. I like being down the water. So,
yep. Yeah. Fantastic. And, a couple of other things for you. What's your favourite piece of equipment that you've ever worked on?
Oh, favourite. Favourite would be a difficult one. That is a really hard one. Pick a favourite. Part of me wants to say the Kevs.
Yep.
And the Kevs and the HTC 1500, just because they're quite complex, and you got to know what you're doing when you're working on them. And that's kind of my little, I like things that are intricate and a bit of a challenge. So probably, those two off the top of my head are probably my favourites to work on.
Sure. So. You had an industry-related superpower, what would it be?
Oh. To be able to fix things.
So some people already believe you have that.
Geez, I don't know. I couldn't tell you a superpower. I mean, X-ray vision would be nice. I can see what's inside the machine before it has to be opened. That'd be great. That'd help our customers too.
Yeah, I'd settle on that. And also via the telephone.
Yeah, that'd be good too. Yeah.
So now you're finally using your degree.
That's right. Yeah.
Hayden, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you for joining us on the podcast. We're going to be seeing a bit more of you visually in some upcoming videos. We're going to be having some fun. Got a pretty big deadline on our in front of us.
We do.
It's going to be a whole lot going on, so we're going to be seeing a whole lot more of you. And this is just the beginning. So thank you for coming onto the TechTalk podcast. You've been really good. I think we've done this in one take.
We did.
You're supposed to say it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. No, just been good. Glad to finally come on. And I'm looking forward to all the other videos. I am.
I bet you are.
I am. I'm looking forward to it.
And thanks everyone for listening. And
Absolutely.
If, of course, you've got any questions for Hayden,
don't do it.
You know where he can be found. Thanks everyone. Till the next time.
This show is proudly supported by WORX Plus. WORX Plus brings total solutions to all concrete grinding and polishing contractors to make it totally work for their daily operations. We hope you've enjoyed this show. Make sure to tune in each week where we're going to dive deep into all things related to concrete grinding and polishing. We're here to help you so that you can boost your outcomes on the floor.